All right. Welcome back. Let me reset. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Deal Podcast. It's been a very eventful last 40 minutes of life, trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Cleon almost crashed out. I ain't never seen it happen before.
Yeah. Let's say that's what happened.
By Cleon, I mean me. But welcome back. Episode 40. We are here. We are live on YouTube every weekend. We need to make a Facebook. So I'm just live on my own personal Facebook. And I think Twitch.
Oh, you're live on Twitch?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I think my own personal Twitch. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
my own personal Twitch.
Oh, nice.
Twitch gets like one view. Anyways,
it's something. Yeah.
Something, yeah. Apparently, there was somebody commented last week, and I never had Twitch pulled up, and I don't have the setting on to where my videos save, so I can never read the comment. So whoever did that, I don't know if it was a good comment or a bad comment, but my apologies, and we're here now. Episode 40. Last week we talked about cheating, like what it was,
right,
in some certain situations. This week we do have a deal of the day, and it's a Bible verse. It's a Bible verse that basically, talks about everything that we talk about with storms, and it's Romans 8:18, which there's a lot of different versions of it. I don't know if you want to pull one up. Yeah. And read it. You got one?
Yeah, I'm about to.
Yeah, I read like so many different versions, but basically just talking about essentially storms. How we always talk about storms.
Sometimes. All right, so yeah. Romans 8:18. What version is this? This is the King James version. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us.
Exactly. So basically, the trials or the problems that you're going through now are nothing compared to the glory that God is going to give you. And I feel like that's such a great verse for anybody that goes through a breakup or anybody that's just going through a storm, because it's like anytime you go to a storm, it's like, okay, the suffering I'm feeling now is nothing compared to the joy that I'm going to feel going through the storm. And that's just, I don't know, I saw that and saw it somewhere, and then I shared it with somebody else. I was like, all right, that's good. We should probably share that on the podcast. So what's your take on that Bible verse?
My take on
it? Take? I don't know. What's your,
it's just life, man. I mean, I think
what's your interpretation of it?
I mean,
like, because I interpret it to like the constant storms in life that we're always going through, even though, it's like, I think the first time I ever heard it, it's just like, oh yeah, it's just for like one situation, but it's like, no, it's like for every situation, because we're constantly having to go through these kind of sufferings. And then we always have to realize, like, hey, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, the joy is going to be better than the pain that you go through. Yeah. And a quote that I always say is, like, it never gets easier. You just get stronger.
Right.
So it's like the same thing, knowing that you're going to constantly be going through these storms in life. But there is joy. There is joy eventually.
The minor setback for a major comeback. That's basically, you know what I'm saying? If we wanted to interpret it to our modern day lingo.
Yeah, that 100%. And then it kind of relates to, I think I was listening or watching some Philip Anthony Mitchell sermon or reels, and he was talking about how God uses certain situations to change the character within you. So you shouldn't ever pray to like get rid of that situation, but pray to move through it and pray that you use that lesson to become the person that you're supposed to be.
Right.
So I think that that's very valuable that he was teaching that, because you don't want to just like pray a bad situation away, because a lot of times the bad situations are used to mold you. Oh, he was saying like, yeah, God's not going to use a wand to change you. You're just not just going to wake up one day and just be changed. He's going to use situations to change you. So I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, ideally, anything that you deal with in life, you're able to find a way to get better from it. That's kind of the most ideal situation. Something to learn from it, something to take from it.
Yeah, all that self-reflection and stuff that we always be talking about. But anyways, that's the deal of the day. That was like our first one. Like, no one's keeping track, right? Yeah. But, hey, we did one, we did, and we're here. So last week we talked about cheating.
Yes,
in situations and like what it is exactly.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about a little bit of like, I guess, overcoming, next steps, and reflecting on that specific breakup. All right. So this is also straight from the book. I'll let Cleon start because I read the book last year and he read it most recently. So once he starts to talk, I'll start to remember. I'm just being real with you guys. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, picking up where we left off from last week, where we got to, well, number one, just kind of like you said, a summary of kind of what we talked about last week is about basically what cheating is, why people cheat. There's a bunch of different reasons. Obviously, the main thing is understanding that sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with you. It talked about different situational things where things just might happen. It talks about the feelings that you're going to kind of go through when those things happen. So basically what we're transitioning to now is the breakthrough work. So what he titled this first portion of it is taking your agency back. And so it starts off with something that I think is very important. Is that you've allowed yourself to feel all the feelings, anger, rage, sadness, etc., and you've started the process, what happened, to accept it, to let go, and to stop internalizing. So once the dust settles, you know what I'm saying, it talks about basically that coming down period.
How long until the dust settles? Typically, when does the dust settle?
As long as it takes. Unfortunately, we all process these things differently. Some people go through periods of a year and some change to really get through it. Some people might be over it in a week. But he also does talk about that. Is that basic, and somewhere later in this, that it is supposed to hurt. And if you find yourself in these situations where it doesn't, we may need to talk about your disconnection from the relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Every failed relationship, I think, is going to hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, if you give anybody like any of your time, like if you're a human being, you're going to feel something, some sort of hurt.
You should. Unless you're a sociopath, like people keep accusing me of being. I don't know what's up with that, man. But the big thing that it talks about is taking ownership. Now, I think that's probably the more difficult thing that people have trouble with, is understanding what their role is. And he talks about, obviously, I'm the one that was cheated on. What do you mean I need to take ownership?
What ownership can I take?
Yeah. And I'm currently in a war on TikTok, by the way. I'm always in a war. The women in my comments be they be attacking me because of stuff like this.
How do you take ownership if you are, I don't want to say victim because that's such a,
I hate the word.
It's just such a terrible word to use. If you're the one that is being cheated on and like you essentially didn't do any wrong. Well, what do you take ownership of in that situation?
Well, basically what you have to, number one, do is the self-reflection portion of it. Basically, what things did you allow? What things did you not allow? Which things maybe, because number one, obviously there's always something that you can improve on, but also there's certain signs of people, flags. Right? Certain red flags that people kind of exhibit during these relationships, right? Yep. They might be little things at first, but as we all know with anything, little things turn into big things. So which of those things were you instrumental in allowing? Kind of letting pass you by and acting like it didn't happen, to which it grew into something like this. What things did you not address at the forefront, and then on the back end now it's become a problem, and this is what the result of that is. You have to be able to take ownership of those things in order to keep the cycle from repeating itself, relationship after relationship.
Because then you're going to get in it and see those same red flags, and then you're going to think it's comfortability. Then you're like, oh, like this feels,
I remember this.
This feels you're going to get so excited for this feels so familiar. I love this. Yeah. Oh, wait, and then the same thing happens. Yeah. That's because just because something is comfortable and familiar doesn't mean it's going to be love. So, I definitely agree with that. And it is hard when you are the person like that happened to, because you're like, what did I do wrong?
Right.
But the thing that you did wrong was you let boundaries cross, and for whatever thing that you wanted to blame it on, you blamed it on that, or you blamed it on yourself, or you blamed it on you just getting anxiety or whatever it may be. You made up this story in your head that's like, no. They, whatever it is, like we just said, the person who can do no wrong, right? It can't be them. They wouldn't do that.
Right.
But you got to listen to the signs. Like, people are the same. their red flags are all the same. You know what I'm saying? Each relationship is very different, but codependency,
these things at their base,
trust issues,
what are all the same.
Exactly. There's nothing new under the sun. So don't be so naive. To think that these things can't happen to you as well. And that's where you have to take ownership. Also, how we talk about the controlling red flags episode is like, you can't control people. Yeah. If people want to do something, they're going to do it. Right. And you have to be so rooted in yourself as an individual that unfortunately you kind of have to let the person be free and do what they want. Like at the end of the day, like if people have free will, you cannot stop anybody from doing anything. So you have to understand that, but you also have to, if this does happen to you, after you're doing your reflection, you do have to take ownership to realize what you were so naive to and what you allowed. So that way, 100%, you don't allow it into the next relationship and jump into that relationship and feel, oh, hey, this person feels familiar. This feels real comfortable. It's a new person, or it's a new face, but same person. Yeah.
Yeah, so it talks about taking ownership is acknowledging that you're 50% of any relationship and that you've contributed to the relationship dynamic in some way. So maybe by not expressing your needs, ownership is how you take your agency back. So it talks about the comfortable thing that people do is slip into that victim mode, and decide that basically this was done to me and there's nothing that I can do about it. Mm-hmm. And that's, like I said, that's what I'm in a war in on my TikTok, because they talk about how men were changing basically after they get married, and like, oh, okay, well, they lie about, they fake the whole thing up until they get married, then all of a sudden they change, and I'm like, I don't know if that's 100% true, but the second part of that is that
you just weren't seeing the signs.
Right, you weren't seeing the signs.
Red flags look like Six Flags when you're having fun, baby.
Yeah, and I'm like, I get it if it happens once, but I'm like, I have to believe that you all are capable of understanding that if you sit down and reflect on what happened, you'll be able to prevent this from happening again. And they're all like, no, I can't do anything. Yeah. I'm like, I can't imagine you want to be manipulated for the rest of your life.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that part after any relationship expires, that time that you have with yourself is so important to reground yourself, figure out what went wrong, why it went wrong, and really just reflect on it. Mm-hmm. Will help you in the road. I'm not going to say you're going to find your wife or your husband just because you reflect and you learn all these things, because
hopefully
I can't tell you that because I haven't found my wife from it.
You're a special case, man. We got it.
I really think that I just go through these things and learn and reflect and be so rooted and grounded, just so I can help you guys listening. You know what I'm saying? I was going through all of our some of our shorts and stuff. I'm listening. I'm like, I really be spitting. I was like, yeah, thank God for that. And I was like, I don't even know what I'd be saying half the time. I just put a camera and put a mic in front of me and we just start having a good conversation. I'm like, hey, some of this stuff is actually pretty good. It's like, write that down. Let me take my own advice sometimes.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It's really hard though with emotions.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I do understand that, which is why, I mean, it's always easier talking to somebody from outside the house. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's way easier than to put into practice. And whenever somebody comes to me for advice, I always let them know, I understand this sounds easier than what it's going to be for you, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But we got to find a way to get there. And that's just what it is.
I give people, because I'm sure you probably get it a lot now too, since 85% of our topics is mostly about relationships. There are a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, but this is more important to us. We will talk about current events, but people just started to come to me for advice on relationships and stuff. And I will never give marriage advice. I'm not married. I'm not in a successful marriage, so I will never give you marriage advice, but I can give you failed or expired relationship advice because I'm an expert at that. And it usually starts one way. It's like, I'm going to tell you most of the things that you want to hear, and then sprinkle in a little bit of things that you don't want to hear. And then once you pass a certain threshold, one of these girls at work come back, hey, no, this guy's a complete POS. You need to realize this and move on. I gave you the nice part with the sweet part where you don't really get too mad. Now I'm going to tell you how it is and be upfront and blunt. So
yeah, it's funny because what I've started doing, because I've had to talk to a lot of people about a bunch of very bad relationships that they were in. And
it's tough, man.
It's tough. But basically, I stopped trying to tell people what they should and shouldn't do. My main thing now, what I do with people when I'm having these conversations is that I go down what their actions could be from here. And then I just help them recognize that each one of these actions has a different consequence. You have to decide which one of these consequences, whether positive or negative, you're going to be okay with. So I just kind of create the scope. Okay, so if you do this, then, and I just talk them through it. So if you do this, then what happens? They tell me, well, okay, so is that something that you want? Not really. So do you feel like you should do that? No. Okay, cool. I'm going to leave that up to you. Now, let's go here. And that's kind of how I walk through it with them. People seem to understand that a little bit better. You know.
Yeah, when there's emotions involved, you really got to walk people through it. Like, you really have to walk yourself through these kind of things when you're going through it, too. Because it's like, you can come to all these people for advice, and they'll really be giving you some good advice. And this is what I realized when I had Bible study last Wednesday. We were talking about pride, and I'm like, I don't really see myself as like a very prideful person.
Really? Is that right?
I'm not like super arrogant and super prideful to where like I'm blinded by things, but I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I am. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, what happened with this relationship when I started to, you know, seek counsel, like ask people for their opinion, and it was just like, I'm not listening. And I'm like, it was like, even ask my pastor, you know, he was telling me, I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, but no, it's different here. I'm different. I know what I'm talking about. And that's where the pride came in. And I'm like, how do you discern that it's like because God will use people to send you messages. How do you discern that is from God, or it's just like a false prophet, or just somebody just talking out their ass? And I was asking my Bible study pastor, and he's like wherever there's a multitude of counsel, that's what you should listen to. So whenever you have the same people that probably don't know each other saying the same thing about one situation, you should probably listen to it. And I was like, okay, that's exactly what happened. But I didn't want to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like anytime you have multiple people, because whatever that verse in the Bible, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's like talking about multitude of counsel. God is going to use people as messengers. That's how you discern if it's from God or not. It's like when there's multiple people saying the same thing, basically telling you the exact same thing, and they don't even know each other, or know that you're talking about the same situation to them. Right. That's when you should be like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then pray about it being discernment. So it'd be like pray to God and ask, hey, is this like from you? If it is, make it more clear. Like keep praying for that. And then he'll probably send that third person, that fourth person said the exact same thing that you don't want to hear, but he'll send them to your life to tell them that. Right. So I thought that was interesting. So I guess I realized like, okay, yeah, that was my pride blinding me because I didn't want to listen. And I was like, it's not going to happen to me again.
Me? Yeah. This is part of the business, man.
I already learned everything. You know what I'm saying? What else do I need to learn in a relationship? You know what I'm saying? I've already learned so much. Yeah. And I'm so rooted.
Well, the problem is, Brandon, that you have learned a lot, but you're emotional. And so you're
emotional. I love with intent. I never going to change. I give freely and love fully.
Yeah. Your learning throws your logic out the window when you get into these things.
Yes, but here's the thing when it comes to these kind of relationships too, is never stop giving freely and loving fully. Sure. Because even though these bad things happen to you, it doesn't mean it's always going to happen to you.
But also, don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb.
There's a line.
I know, but it's also like you learn so much, so you think like, no, I know what I'm doing. But in reality, like, you know, bad things can still happen to good people, and good things can happen to bad people.
Remember, no matter how much you learn, there's always more to learn. You know,
there is. But even if you're going through you cheated and left me for someone else breakup, don't ever. It's hard, but don't let that cloud your judgment and take away who you are as a person. So that way you give your next person less. Don't let that do that to you, because I did that when I was younger, and then it literally just led me on a bad path for a little while. So you don't want to do that. Still be that same person that you are, but just take counsel from people And
also take your time. The thing that you were telling me to stop.
I literally was, right? I literally
right,
set boundaries for it.
Right. You took time with certain things, but not other things. And that's, you gotta
when
ease.
The mind knows, the mind knows.
Yeah,
maybe that's the heart.
Yeah, all right.
But it's so funny because, I'm like, I'm doing it different this time. No sex. When I'm having these feelings, I'm going to talk about them instead of just bottle them in, because I was really bad with confrontation. As people who are not emotionally intelligent they're really bad with confrontation. It's not going to be a girl that I met in the club. It's not going to be. It's not gonna be a Latina. I'm going back to my roots though. I was like, they crazy, but they love you. No, that didn't really have anything to do with the choice, but I just wanted to say that was funny.
Yeah,
but I'm definitely going back to my roots. Ain't no way.
You just gotta pace yourself with all these. And once again,
you do, but it's like you think you try and narrow it all down. Like, I'm not gonna do this, not gonna do this, not gonna do that, not gonna do that, and I'm gonna do everything so right, and it's like still doesn't work out. You're like, oh, man.
So that's what I was talking about. I think on like an episode or two ago is that the reason why obviously I've been ridiculed for taking too much time, and maybe I do, but the reason why I take so much time,
sure, huh?
right, yeah, I got to make sure, but because like I said, you have to get to know somebody to understand if they are going to be. I use the word deserving because I don't know what other word to use right now, but deserving of what you're going to be doing. Because like you said, when you get into these things, you're very much all into it, and you're all in right then. Me, I'm going to give a little, I'm going to give a little bit more, and I'm going to give a little bit more, and we're going to work on it. You're like, I will give you everything right now. But but
if that's how I feel, but obviously I don't feel that way with everybody.
Sure.
So those are the ones that like they get a little bit out of time, and it's like, let me just see where it's going.
But
it's like once you know, then it's like, all right.
Once you think you know, right? Because that's what the problem is. Because when you have those feelings, you have to be able to step back and say, okay, I am feeling all of these things, but it's early, right? These are, like I talk about all the time.
But what if you already knew them previously?
It doesn't matter, right?
Clearly,
because you know them, you now know them in a different way. One of the things I talk about a lot of what people talking about on social media is that people want middle of the relationship benefits at the beginning. You want to give middle of the relationship benefits to somebody who you're just getting into it with.
Only if it feels correct.
And that's the problem, because you're going based off of what you feel and not based off of what actually is happening, right?
That is the problem. Huh?
So like I said, I understand there's a fine line, but you got to pace it.
But I'm not ever going to let it change me.
Yeah. Well, we pray for Brandon.
But I'm in a season of singleness. This really honestly. Like when I was talking about idols, it's definitely something that made me realize, like, I do have idols in my life, and you can't, like, I literally got it tattooed. After all this was happening, I was like, oh, let me get Seek First His Kingdom tattooed on my arm. I was like, this plays in along with everything. And then it's like, I realized afterwards, I put relationships as idols. If you don't do that, you probably will take them a lot slower. You know what I'm saying? So I realized that in that one. I was like, okay, I still don't get it. I'm still not getting it right. I thought I was getting it right. But it's like, no. You're going to worship something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're atheist, you're going to worship something in your life, whether it's money, lust, women, your relationships,
right?
Cars, whatever. You're going to worship something. So that's what I realized. Like, okay, that's the last straw. I got the lust thing under control. No sex, no drinking, but I'm still putting these relationships before my relationship with God.
Yeah, I think you're finally realizing what your actual problem is.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems, man. I ain't perfect. I ain't ever going to be, but I'm very self-aware.
Yeah, you got to strip back all that other extra stuff to really get down to the root, and the root is you dive headfirst into things. And
when I'm certain.
When you feel like you're certain.
When I think I'm certain.
Right, and then.
But there's been a lot that, like, I'd be like, or let's say, like, if I'm talking to somebody, if I'm like, I'm not certain, like, I'm not going to fully pursue it. Be like, we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, and that makes me think that they had to suck.
No, I mean, some of them are great people. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, maybe, but like,
it's just I don't know.
Knowing you and how you are with somebody that you really like.
Also, sometimes that's because of lust, and I didn't do that this time around. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, I'm getting a different feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not because of sex. So I'm like, oh, I'm not blinded from the lust. And that's what it was with previous women.
I think that was the problem, though, right? Because now that you don't have sex to attribute it to, you decide that it has to be the real thing.
I did, but now we know. So that's why there's always something to learn. We're constantly growing. And whoever, like, you have to you're going to go through some shit. And that's what life is. But eventually, like, you're going to find your person. Maybe. Or, you know, God says some people stay single forever. I doubt that's going to be me, but... If it's your plan, I'm a listen guy.
But
my pride says it's not. No. I don't know. I don't know if that, like, you can have maybe, I don't know. I'm not even gonna say it.
Yeah,
like, you can't have like a heart to maybe like have a family or want a family, and then God keep you single forever. But he can do that.
He can do what he wants.
A crazy story about that. My barber, one of our like high school buddies passed away over a year ago now. And my barber is like everyone's therapist because he's like knows the Bible inside and out. So he knows everybody's relationships, and he's basically like our relationship therapist. Whenever we go there, we talk to him about everything, and he's known me since I was in high school. And this kid who had died that we knew, the last thing that he told him was like, you know what? Maybe I'll never get married. And then, hey, you ain't get married on this earth. I was like, I'm not ever going to tell you that. Because I don't want to. Yeah. But when it's your time, it's your time. I just thought that was crazy. So I'll never say never, but God's plan, we'll go with that.
Yeah. All right. So, we went on a little tangent, but
that's what
just part of it.
That's what podcasts are for, man. We like to talk.
So this talks about the second part of the about the ownership, and there's a good portion in here that talks about basically the things that were happening during the relationship that she probably should have noticed, right? So he says that basically, here's what Audrey is the girl in this situation, but here's what Audrey started to own, remembering every fight and all the dysfunction that was deeply embedded in the relationship, seeing the red flags like when Zach stopped kissing her during sex 6 months in, or when she had to look the other way as he got over.
I was just thinking, I'm like, wait, what if you never had sex and what if you never fought?
Hold on, right? We got to get there.
How are you supposed to?
Here we go. Okay, so the other, when he got overly flirty with his fangirls at his shows or any attractive girl who crossed his path, because if she didn't look the other way, then she was jealous, crazy, or insecure, just like his exes before her. Or when he never bought her flowers because in his eyes, she wasn't the type of girl men buy flowers for. He said
that's insane.
That's crazy to say.
It's literally insane. If you're not buying, like, that's bare minimum.
But to say that is crazy. Like, if you're not going to buy them, don't buy them. But to say you're not the type of girl that men buy flowers for is an insane thing to tell somebody.
And for her
that
to
you're
still
with.
stay after that?
It's like things like that, right? That
it's
notice.
Super logical, but the emotion part was like, he didn't mean it.
I don't even know how.
I probably don't need flowers.
No, that's not what he meant, though. That's not. He just meant like, because I'm like a tomboy, and like, why would I like flowers?
Why would I like flowers?
That's it.
I don't need them. He's right.
Oh my gosh.
That's where human emotion is so stupid sometimes. Like, you see these kind of things, you're like, that's super logical. Like, if you can't do the bare minimum, like just buy flowers, like that's 10, 15, well, like $20. You know what I'm saying? It's super simple. Not even going to say how many flowers I bought this year, but we'll just leave that for another time. It's like, there was always new flowers whenever the old flowers died.
Wow.
Because I'm that kind of guy. Ladies, I'm just kidding. I'm in the season of singleness.
Brandon?
I'll buy you some flowers, but don't. There's nothing else after that. If you really need flowers, I'll buy you some flowers. If your man's not doing it for you, I'll do it for you.
All right. Okay.
Let me go check on my ex. See if
all right. So, spontaneous road trips. It shows. Road trips were never fun and always ended in explosive fights that drove him to disappear and not return the next day. Bro, if you are in a relationship and your partner just goes missing for a day because y'all had a fight, a day or two. I've been watching Divorce Court. They would talk about how people, like, they get into a fight and then their significant other just runs off and goes missing for like 3 days to a week and then just comes back.
What do you think's happening?
What could possibly be happening? I'm like, what do you mean this happened multiple times? On multiple occasions in the relationship, this dude would just, after they would argue, he would just go and be out for days. Days is crazy.
We wouldn't argue, but like, you know,
if I get a few hours, but
that's how Latinos are.
If you got, but if y'all
you can't go a few hours without.
If y'all live together, Brandon, like where these people live together.
Oh yeah, no, I know that. I couldn't even go like couple hours after work when I was used to drink. When I lived with my ex, I couldn't even go a couple hours.
Oh yeah, that's like, crazy.
Where are you? I'm like, bro, it's 4 a.m. I'm just drinking with the boys. No, you're not. Like, here's a picture of us. I swear to God. It's like, but the crazy part about that one is I never gave her a reason to not trust me. Like I never did anything bad.
Yeah.
And you remember that relationship? I've never even talked to like girls would come like, yeah, don't even talk to me. Like you go. Yeah,
Brandon was playing a facilitator role for a long time out there.
It was so crazy. She would just always think that, and then I'd be like, bro, it was insane.
Yeah, man. That's
the things we do when we think we're in love.
The things we do. He talked about basically she saw that she had minimized all this behavior and stayed mute. So basically, you know, she didn't express that she had an issue with any of these things, even though these things are absolutely egregious for the most part. And she wasn't expressing her struggles with the relationship, and she loved around him instead of with him. Yeah. She realized she had allowed herself to be a doormat in their relationship. She ignored her own wants, needs, and concerns because she didn't believe she deserved to have them or that she could do better than Zach. She just wanted to be loved, and to be loved by Zach, she had to remain silent. There's no love that will require you to never be able to express what your concerns are, because that's unfortunately what a relationship is. You guys have to talk about your problems. That's just life.
Yep. I remember reading in his other book, Single on Purpose, he was talking about how like a relationship is constantly evolving. Like it's never going to change it's never going to stay the same. It's always changing.
Right.
So when problems come up, like you have to address them, and then you work together as a team on how to fix it. Mm-hmm. So when she starts feeling these things, no matter how uncomfortable it is, like things are going to be uncomfortable in a relationship. Like it's always changing. Like you got to own that, accept that, and be a man or be a woman and bring these things to the table when they come up and you're feeling them. Don't just avoid the problems. You can't avoid problems forever. Right. You got to grow up eventually.
At some point.
Problems are going to be in a relationship. Otherwise, you're going to get into these relationships where you just don't say anything and you want this person to love you, and they're going to do all these logically outrageous things.
Right, and they're going to say that you were okay with it because you didn't say anything.
Because you didn't say anything. And then 20 years later, you're going to be in a relationship, and then you're like, kind of want to get out of this. Like, all right. So it's really important to like be able to face that confrontation now. And like the same thing with my Mimo. I was taking her out for her birthday, and that's certified yapper number 1. my grandma.
Gee,
you guys think I talk a lot. I was like, that's exactly where I get it from. Certified yapper. I still love her though, but she's talking about like wanting to leave her husband at this age. You know
what?
Yeah, it's not the first time I ever heard somebody in her 70s. When we were selling life insurance, bro. When I went to a house in Alachua, and this woman was 81 years old and just filed for a divorce with her husband over like 40 years. I'm like, you just didn't want to wait till he died? Mm-hmm. I couldn't do it anymore. I said,
that's crazy.
That's crazy. So let this be God speaking through me, that you need to check your relationship if you're in one of those kind of relationships, because you don't want to get in your 70s and your 80s and be like, man, I need to leave. I need to be stuck. And another thing is never give up your job for a relationship. Never give up your career if you love your career, or never I know we live in a day and age where there's girl bosses nowadays, so it's probably not going to happen as often. But never give up your career for a man, especially a man that's going to treat you like this story in the book. Because then when you want to go and work or something, or you want to get out of that situation, you have no money to get out of that situation. Mm-hmm. So that's also another thing that I was talking to my grandma about too. Or me, mom.
I mean,
but I've seen that situation happen before.
That is terrifying to think about, that I can be married to somebody for 40 years and think this is the time to file for divorce.
There was also when I was really, I remember this one was really bad. This girl was married to this guy for 20 years that had 2 kids, and he just up and left her randomly one day. So I had filed for divorce.
Oh my God.
And he had made her well, I guess not made her because you can't make anyone do anything, but maybe manipulated her into like quitting her job, being a stay-at-home mom and stuff, and then just left her with nothing.
That happened to me. I literally went to sell this lady insurance. It was her and a baby there, and she was like, "Yeah, my husband just left like yesterday, like a week or two, like a week ago, like within the last couple of days."
What city was that in?
This was here in like Citrus Park.
Outskirts? Okay, no, I think it was like Riverview area.
Yeah, she was like, "Yeah, he just didn't come back, and I don't know what we're doing right now." I'm like, I feel bad trying to sell you. Are you okay?
So don't put yourself in those situations. Have those tough conversations because that's what's going to happen to you. If you don't have these tough conversations, like somebody is going to be put in this situation.
Yeah.
Either the girl leaves the guy or the guy leaves the girl because you guys are afraid of conflict and afraid of having these tough conversations.
Yeah, at the very least, if somebody has to leave, I don't want there to be any confusion about why. You know what I'm saying?
And we're adults. There should never be any confusion. Hey, this started happening and I'm falling out of love. Or when problems arise, you got to talk about them.
Yeah,
and then if you can fix them together, you can fix them together. If not, then you can make the decision to leave.
Yeah. So the next portion of this, it talks about the betrayal, obviously, as you're going to feel once you are cheated on. For anybody who has been cheated on, obviously, that's one of the things that you think, because you trusted somebody, basically. You trusted somebody with your love, you trusted somebody with your heart, and then obviously they go and they do something like this to you. And so how do you navigate the betrayal, basically, the betrayal aspect of it? He talks about basically the normal thing to do is obviously you start to wonder, am I not enough? Am I unlovable? Am I bad in bed? This says, is it my feet? Which I thought was hilarious. But you can start to believe that, you're defective, and that feeling of being less than might make you, and this is what a lot of people end up doing, trying to go get their ex back to prove and validate that they were enough. And then that's how we end up, as the kids are calling it now, spinning the block. Spinning the block.
Going for round two?
Going for round 2, 3, and 4.
When is it okay to go for round 2 in this situation?
And after you were cheated on?
Yeah. Or, yeah. Does it depend?
I think it does depend. I think that...
Let's say, for example, it was like a 5-month relationship and something like that happens. Should you do that down the road? And then what about versus a 2-year relationship and then versus a marriage?
So I think that in a 5-month relationship, it's still very early. I don't know when the commitment was made to each other. I don't know when these things are, because 5 months in, it's a lot easier to figure out where blurred lines are.
Yeah.
2 years in,
there's no blurred lines.
There shouldn't be any blurred lines at that point, ideally.
Literally.
So if there's I think it'll be a little bit easier to decipher cheating after 2 years, where it went wrong, what the problems were. And if this is something like, if I understand that after I've done my self-reflection, if I can understand, okay, I probably contribute to these things in this way, they were probably feeling like this, and maybe it doesn't excuse the action, but I can understand what the problem was. And then at that point, if you feel like you can work through it after that, obviously, like we talked about, if you're going to go back to somebody after they cheated on you, you got to shut up about it.
Yeah,
you have to forgive them for it. Otherwise,
you going back means you forgive them.
That's what it should mean. It should mean.
You can't bring it back up.
Yeah. So at that point, if you, after that conversation with yourself, if you understand that, if you're willing to go back and get it another try, sure.
How long should somebody wait before they give it another try?
I think you should wait with somebody that you've already been with.
Yeah.
I think you should wait.
6 months minimum?
Yeah, 6 month minimum. I would say honestly a year, because you have to also you guys have to talk that out.
You have to talk it out.
There's a bunch of discussions that you're going to have
to get back, and there has to be something that's different.
Yeah, there has to be something that's different.
Any relationship that fails, you always have to ask yourself, like, what's going to be different this time?
Yeah.
So both people have to come into it as new people who have grown, and it's a new relationship. It's not the same relationship that you were in before. So as long as you can understand that, it'll be a little bit better for you.
But also at that point, because this is like the thing when you could really just never go back and just go find somebody. You know what I'm saying?
There's literally a lot of people out there.
And if you're moderately attractive and kind of funny, somebody else will like you. And that's just the bare minimum. Now, when we're talking about marriage, unfortunately, when it comes to marriage, a lot more people have to work through cheating than you have to at these 5-month or 2-year stages, because you've made a legal commitment to each other. You probably are in binding agreements with maybe houses, maybe cars, cell phone bills, children. All of those things, unfortunately, have to be considered. So I don't know if this cheating is a one-time occurrence, then, okay, we work through it. If this is happening on a multiple occasions, either you have to do with that one lady who I met who decided that her husband decided he was going to be polyamorous after the relationship and accept after marriage. So you either have to accept that, or at that point, I mean, I would understand leaving that marriage, but obviously understanding what that entails after that.
Yeah, it depends on, I guess, if they sign a prenup or not.
Yeah,
at that point.
Make sure you hit them with the prenup.
I think, in the early stages, I don't know. That's a conversation for another time. I think after 2 years, after 2 years and it happens, and there's no marriage, there's no kids involved. Yeah, there's no point. There's no. You already made that commitment. It's no point. After 2 years, it's like no.
Like, I get if the person who cheated was trying to get you back, I get that part of it.
Yeah, but the person who got cheated on, no, it's going to be hard, but you just got to, at that point, just close the door. Yeah. Unless you're a girl and this guy, I guess. No, I was going to say if he's like super rich, but then you're going to have to be
Brandon? Come on, man.
You're going to be in that same cycle. He's going to continue to do it. So if that's what you're okay with, then. But yeah, after the year mark or something, and something like that happens, like there's no really turning back from it.
If there's been a clear, like I said, my main thing is always, if there's been a clear commitment made to each other, then that's when you got to start looking at these things a little bit different. During these little talking stages that we be in, man, people going, most likely, they came into that thing with somebody else that they haven't cut off quite yet. Little things still lingering around. But after you guys have made a legitimate commitment to each other, then after that is when things are serious, quote unquote. Yeah. That's when those things kind of,
And when it happens in a marriage.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's like how, but also there's levels of cheating, right?
There's
like cheating with somebody in your house, in your bed type thing is like different than you.
With your wife's friend. It's like, all right, hey.
You have no respect for this person.
Now, if you're on vacation, you got really drunk and it happened one time, and you guys have kids and a house together and stuff, then it's like, you probably want to try and work through it. But if it's something like when we're reading that Reddit story where it was like a whole 2-year affair, absolutely not. That's the whole 2-year affair thing, nah. Like, get up out of there. Like, sorry that happened to you. But that's why it's so important to have people that can think logically for you when you're so
emotional.
Yes, you're so locked up with this emotion thing, thinking like, not this person. Well, that's why people think logically, and that's why people who act based on emotions, usually doesn't go right. Just like if you act based off anger, greed, lust, all of those things, like those are a very emotional things that people act upon, that usually doesn't end well. Yeah,
and that's also a good point, because we sometimes attribute emotional responses to you just crying. Y'all people who be going out there and slashing tires and breaking windows and spray painting houses, stop doing stuff like that. Just leave, because you do all of that to end up back with the person. 9 times out of 10, that's what ends up happening. I'm like, you did all of that for what? What was the point of that?
I'm not gonna lie, when that one ended, but I was scared that that's going to happen to my car. I'm like, she knows where I work. She knows where I usually park. Every time we're leaving the club, I'm coming. Okay, thank God. It's like, my car key, my tire. Oh, thank God.
Bro, my boyfriend back in the day, some girl came and spray painted. This wasn't even a girl he was with. Came and spray painted his crib. Talking about he's a cheater or something like that, like on the side of the house that he was living.
That's crazy. That's why you guys should stop having sex with multiple women. let that story tell you, but I've had it just never ends never ends well,
right?
When you entertain, even if, and I tried this, even if you tell them you're going to talk to other women, when they find out that you do, even though you told them, they still get. I'm like,
if I had $1.
It's like, didn't I tell you?
Didn't we have this conversation?
It's like, I literally just got out of a relationship.
Why are you surprised?
I was like, yeah, I'm literally going to talk to other people too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And then they actually find out and they're like, I'm like, okay, yeah. I was like, that doesn't work. So never again we're doing that. And this, one at a time.
This is what I started telling people, man. I'm like, because back in the day when I was a younger person with a younger mentality,
yeah.
I would do social experiments. I'm like, so let's see what happens when I tell a girl the truth versus telling her a lie at the beginning, whether I'm gonna be here versus I'm gonna be talking to other women. The only difference is you get to say, I told you. That's the only difference. It ends the same way. The only difference you get to say, well, I told you. None of it matters.
It doesn't. They didn't hear it. They just like, I don't watch Love Island, but did you see that? I just saw that reel where the Hispanic girl was talking to the black guy about moving in.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh my God, I don't know all their names. Huda or Judah.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know
one. Yeah.
But she was talking to this guy and like, hey, like, after this, how is it going to be, or like, what's the stages for us to move in and stuff? He's like, well, we tried a long distance thing, see how that works, and then maybe you come. I think he said Vegas or something, and then if it all works out, and we still like each other and stuff, then maybe we can make those next steps and stuff. And then it flips to another clip, and it's just like, yeah, so and so said he wants to move in with me, and they're like, no way, really? And it's just like. It's just like how girls hear you versus what the guy actually says.
Bro, what? That's how it goes. Yeah, so and that's why when somebody comes to me, especially with my female friends, I'm like, when they tell me, oh, he literally said this, I'm like, okay, so tell me exactly what he said to you. He said X, Y, and Z. I'm like, that is not what that means. That is by no stretch of the imagination what that means, and I need you to understand that.
Yeah, I just thought that was so funny, so true.
But that is quite literally life, unfortunately as a man now.
So
that's why I try to be very intentional, very clear, and I over-explain these days.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do.
But just don't have sex with multiple women. Like, there's no point.
But but the other stuff, is like, because even if you're not having sex with somebody and you're telling them like, hey, we're cool to get to know each other, but I'm not really looking to get into it. Like you would tell somebody right now, I'm just not looking to get anything into anything right.
People like that. Yeah,
and in 2 months of you maybe having some fairly consistent communication, you're gonna get a "what are we" text or something like that, and you're gonna be like,
you can't get a "what are we" if you ain't hanging out with them. You might. I don't know.
I promise you, it's possible, man.
I mean, it might.
Like, I thought we had this. I thought I told you. Because the thing is, because people try to rationalize this.
You asked me what are we? You just got to pray about it. Ask God, please. I'll ask God too.
Talk to God about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, talk to God about it. I'm gonna talk to him too, and we're gonna figure this out together.
Yeah, people try to rationalize these things. Like, well, if he doesn't want to be with me, then why would he keep talking to me? And I'm like, well, because you guys are having a conversation.
That too, but also. Humans, women and men, are afraid of confrontation. So if like they go based on how you make them feel. So if talking to you makes them feel good, why would they confront you, do something that makes them feel worse, and lose you, do another thing that makes them feel bad?
Yeah. Like,
so that's why if you're like, oh, why is he still doing? That same thing happened, when we were doing life insurance. It's like she's like, oh, we should stop doing this. Nah, let me convince you, reel you in. This is what it's going to be. Boom, worked out. And then the actions weren't matching the words. And then she got all lovey dovey. It's like, I love you and stuff. And I was like, all right, hey, she said this. That means that we're good. But no, that's not what it means. Not what it means all the time. Women and men say some things that they don't fully mean because of the way that you make them feel. Yeah. So they don't want to confront you because confronting people about problems is hard. Yeah, and everybody's on their own journeys and not able to do that. I wasn't able to do that for a very long time. So it does take a lot of self-reflection to figure out, I'm not good at confrontation. Talk to your parents, talk to your dad. Like, I had a long conversation with my biological father about how he acts and reacts. Because like, how you have a kid and know you have a kid at age of 7, but never reached out to be in his life. So it's like, oh, he's afraid of confrontation. So he got older, but never really grew up that much. You know what I'm saying? And that's his journey. I don't hold anything against him. I'm not a person that's going to hold grudges or resentment. But it's just like, that makes a lot of sense because I used to be a person that hates confrontation. Like, anytime I got into a fight with exes, it's like, I can't even fight. I don't even want to hear you. I'm getting out of here. But it's like, no, that's not what you're not supposed to do. That you gotta handle the problems head on. Because if you don't, it's just gonna create a bigger problem for you down the road. So to answer whatever question we're going on, is like, that's why guys will do that. Say these things is because you make them feel good and they're afraid of confrontation, and vice versa. Same thing with women.
Yeah, but you know, my main thing is always, I'm gonna go by based off of what you say, regardless of how. If you told me at the beginning, this is what you're looking for, this is what you're not, regardless of how you act after that, because what I'm gonna say is that, hey, you told me X, Y, and Z. I just want to make sure that we're still on the same page with X, Y, and Z. Yes or no? And people are so afraid to answer honestly in that moment. And I don't know why, but I mean, I get it because
they don't want to lose the feeling that you.
It's so uncomfortable to say, you know what I'm saying, yes or no. Honestly, in that situation, when somebody but it's just one of those things. You just got to get the reps in, man. You do. I've had so many uncomfortable conversations at this point in my life, so I'm like, at this point, I'm numb to it. It is what it is. So yeah, basically, what this talks about also is the reoccurring patterns that were happening in the relationships. So we're talking about taking ownership and how you may have contributed to the dynamic of it. So it talks about basically consider any recurring patterns in past relationships that may have contributed to the dynamic of this one. Did that relationship dynamic have any impact on the drift or the infidelity? Did the cheating change your identity or your definition of self? Did you contribute to the drift by not being present in that relationship? If so, then how? And did you stop working on yourself, your health, mind, and body, your passion, and your happiness? If so, how did that neglect ripple into the relationship? And finally, what are you holding on to that you need to let go of?
It's a lot to digest.
Yeah.
I think most importantly, there is when you're in a relationship is you can't lose who you are as an individual. Right. So you still is talking about what are you doing to pour into yourself. Like, make sure you're still doing things that make you happy or excite you. Like, learn new skills. Go learn how to play guitar. Go do some sort of art. If you like art, did you stop painting? Like, whatever it may be, like, don't stop doing the things that fill you up. You know what I'm saying? Like, give you fulfillment in doing them. You might not make money off of it. It could be like something as simple as like painting or ceramics or something to do with art or playing an instrument. Like, don't stop doing those things that give you that joy and that fulfillment because you're filling your own cup up. Yeah. Same thing when it comes to personal development. Don't stop pouring into yourself just because you get into a relationship. Like, still be working on your mind, body, and spirit. So keeping your prayer life good, meditation, reading books, working out, or if you like running, whatever it may be. Yeah. Don't stop working on yourself just because you get into a relationship.
Yeah, I knew that there were certain things that I shouldn't have been in because I got out of shape. Yeah. That's when I was like, yeah, this ain't where I need to be at. Yeah. As soon as you stop your personal development to, I don't even know, because clearly you're not contributing to the relationship's development because it's not going well.
And that's another thing is when you're working on yourself, you are a better person. So now you're showing up better in the relationship. And if you're constantly working on yourself, it's easier to see these drifts when they're not working on their selves. Right. So that way you're able to sometimes outgrow them. And then that's how things drift apart as well. But at least you outgrew them and they didn't outgrow you.
Right. Exactly. And so what it talks about also is some basically the chemical effects on you that betrayal has, basically. Yeah. So it talks about basically the brain's response to stress. It triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol, creating high levels of anxiety and emotional distress. The brain areas associated with social pain, such as the anterior cingulate cortex, can also become activated in a way similar to how they would respond to physical pain. Yep. Additionally, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation, may be effective, potentially leading to difficulty in processing emotions and making rational decisions.
Which is why it's important not to act once you feel.
Yeah, exactly, because you get hurt and suddenly you don't know what right from left and you doing something crazy. Yep.
Yeah. So that's why I thank God for growth, because, like, whenever I found out, it was just like...
You did something crazy before? In the moment?
Crazy, but... I mean, the only other time was when I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? In that situation. Right. But like in this one, it was just like, you know, still, once you find something out like that and you've had the kind of relationship to where you like think like, oh, this is your last one. When you have that kind of ideology to it, yeah, it's going to hurt and suck. And you're going to want to say a whole bunch of crazy things. But it's like, breathe, sit with it, feel the emotions, process it. Yeah. Way different, obviously, now because hopefully people grow up as they get older, and they don't just get older. But when it happened in high school, which is like the craziest story. We already talked about it, but you know, my first real girlfriend that I was with for like years left me for my best friend in high school. Yeah, which like I'm cool with everybody now. Like I don't hold resentment or anything, but it's like at the time, I'm feeling all those feelings, like don't know what to do. It's like everything comes in left and right, and it's like I don't know. I don't even know if I texted her, but I know I started texting everybody. Yeah, I wanted them to know how bad of a person she was, how bad of a person he was, and all this yada 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 nonsense. And then I do remember part of that story too is I gave him the opportunity to. I said you can either stay my friend or you can be with her, and he chose to be with her. And I was like, all right. So then his best friends became my best friends, and then where we are now today. But yeah, being a young, like I was like 16, 17 years old. Right. It's like that's a lot of emotion and a lot of feeling to kind of process. It's like, hey, wait. Nowadays, it's like, all right, hey, I already been through so much. I already know how to sit with the emotions and feel them, but don't let them control you or impact the decisions that you're going to make to reach out to people and say some choice words. You know what I'm saying?
15, 16 years old was the only time I ever cried over a girl.
I think I was 17, something like that.
Yeah. It was tough times, man. Tough times.
And just because Cleon says he only did that at 16, 17, it's okay if you guys cry. Just don't be a little B word, but you know, it's okay to cry and pray.
It's okay to cry.
It's okay to. What does it say? What does it say in the Bible about crying? Like God, that's how God wants you to come to Him, just as you are, and cry and be who you are and praise Him. So it's like there's a verse in the Bible where it says like that it's a good thing to do that when you come to God, and obviously not anything else. But.
Now the last portion of this it talks about. I think this is a very good portion of it. The title of it is "Your Friends Don't Know What You Need." Yep. In spite of their good intentions, the messages we get from friends and family after being cheated on can be damaging. Things like he did you wrong, so F him. You deserve better. He or she's a piece of whatever. Basically, everybody's on your side, but it's not helpful. Because turning your ex into a monster doesn't help you or your healing. It throws you into a victim mode. Instead of villainizing your ex and stamping urgent and high priority on your forehead, they should stamp fragile, handle with care, and treat you accordingly. Everyone wants to save you, but they're not taking a beat and allowing you to lead and go at your own pace. And that's what happens a lot of the times. People get around their friends during a breakup, and that's what'll happen. Let's go for a drink. You don't need them, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, although all of those things may or may not be true, that's not going to be instrumental in you growing as a person and understanding the things that you could have done better to help you heal and grow from it. Because if the only thing you're doing is I was done wrong, like he's talking about, you're now a victim. Yeah. And if you want to be a victim, that's what I was telling people. If you want to be a victim, that's okay. I'm not going to stop you from being a victim.
But you're going to be another one because you're going to find the
You're going to be another one because somebody else is going to do the same thing because you didn't take the time to sit and figure out what the problem was. Where are the things that you could have noticed so that way you could have cut it right there and cut it off at the head where it was at. Because all you were focused on is F them. They're a bad person. That like people talk about, I don't want to go there because my ex is there. Oh, if I see them, that's so just. I'm like, I could sit down with any girl I've ever been with right now and have lunch. We'd have a great time. I don't feel that.
Most of them.
I
mean, I wouldn't feel no resentment towards any of them because at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. Things happen. And I think that it's understanding for, like, your friends to do that and they want to have it back. But they're really just telling you what you want to hear.
They're emotional, giving you emotional responses. Exactly. And you they people. You know what I'm saying? They try, I get it.
They're also humans who, process things emotionally.
That's probably what they would do if they were going through it.
Right. But at the end of the day, like, no matter how bad somebody does you wrong, I'm not saying that you got to pray for them, but you can't hold resentment because what they did, they think is right. You know what I'm saying? Or they can justify what they did in some way. So that's just their journey that they're on, and you can't change anything. So why are you going to hate them and make you think about it even more? So it's like there's no real point into doing that. You just gotta let go gracefully and love yourself enough to keep moving forward. Because if you are hating them and holding that resentment, what are you doing? You're constantly thinking about them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you ever hated anybody, really, really hated somebody, you always think about it. You know, just like the kid from college, 10 years later, he's still thinking about me. It's like, hey, run free, buddy. I love you too. You know what I'm saying?
You just gotta let it go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's just so there's just so much space in the brain and the heart that it takes to hold resentment towards somebody,
and hate
and
anger.
it's such a heavy thing to have to carry around. There is nobody who I ever want to feel like I can't be in the same room as, and that they have that power and effect on me. There's just nothing that I can think of that's really worth that. To me, I like to move freely with a smile on my face. That's just what my life is. You know,
in the same way, you got to reflect and take ownership for your role in that relationship.
Correct.
They got to do the same thing. So maybe you were there as part of their journey just to help them heal from something or realize something.
Unfortunately,
that's how it is sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you see the people that get in relationships when they're like in high school and stuff, and then they get married and all that stuff. It's like, I don't know. They didn't get to learn any of these lessons. You know, I don't know if I'm jealous or like thankful, but I be looking at them like
they got got lessons of their own that they got to learn.
And actually, so you got to. That's where it comes. Everybody's on their own journey.
Yeah.
And the way that people act is not. Sometimes it's not based on anything that you did right or wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just based on where they are at in their own life journey, and you gotta be able to accept that and move on.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, we I don't even think I told you this, but on I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday, I was on the No Clearance podcast with my guy, Tyler. Because he needed all of his guests were unavailable, so he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, can you do an episode with me?" And one of the things we talked about, so he married my cousin, so that's how basically we know each other. Now I've known him basically since high school because that's where they met. So they were high school sweethearts. They went to separate colleges and ended up getting married. So they've been together pretty much since we were all 16 years old or something like that. And so I was having that conversation with him about. Because he's asking me kind of what we talk about here. And like, we talk a lot about, we know what not to do because of all the things that and I'm like, your story obviously is going to be a little bit different because you guys have been together for 15 years. So, you know, we talked a little bit about kind of the differences in between the struggles that obviously we both have, the things that you got to deal with as somebody who has been in love and decided to make that work at that point versus somebody who we got to keep doing it over and over again.
And then they probably have those thoughts of like, oh, I never got to experience singleness and stuff. Yeah, you hear it all the time when like girls get out of long relationships.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's like my youngest sister. She's like 22 now, but she's already married with a kid. You know what I'm saying? To like her high school, maybe she's 23 now. To like her high school sweetheart too. So it's sweetheart. I want to say some choice words, but I'm not going to cuss on the podcast again. But yeah, everyone's on their own journey. Everyone's life is different, and I mean that was almost mine. And God knows where I would be if that's what's happened. That's what I thought was going to happen. You know, I was going to marry my high school sweetheart, and you know everything going to be sunshine and rainbows and.
Oh my gosh.
Here we are. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a completely different journey and a completely different life. And who knows? Yeah. But I'm thankful for everything that's happened to me and mine because it's caused and led to so much growth. Yeah. And had that first one had worked out forever, I probably would have just been the same person getting older and not growing up. You know what I'm saying? Just the age is going up, but not really learning emotionally. So I'm not having all these skills to be able to teach to my child. You know what I'm saying? Except for, hey, grow up, find a wife, and you're good. You know?
It's easy.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. But in reality, it's not. So I learned so much over the time where, like, I know when I do have kids, they're going to be very, very knowledgeable, especially in this. Yeah,
they kind of have to be.
Hopefully they use the information for good and not for evil. You gotta pray for that.
Well, and that'll be the thing about I think about both of us if we do end up having sons, is that, hey man, look, there's gonna be some things that are gonna come to you very naturally, and I need you to understand how to navigate these things as you go.
Learn how to say no, and it's a lot easier. the older you get, though. It's so much easier to turn women down or to turn situations down.
It should be, ideally.
Yeah. My kid's not going to college, though.
Okay. That's very random, but all right.
I'm just saying that's where it goes wrong. You go to a university, you start hanging out with those people. You want to be the popular kid? Nah. Get them out of there.
This is crazy.
My son. We'll raise a daughter, right? But I can't have a son going to college, man. He'll go off the.
Oh Lord,
he'll go off the radar.
Praying for Brandon's future children.
My daughter would be fine, though.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
My son, no.
Think that
he'll probably get arrested.
Maybe.
Hopefully not.
So the last portion of this, the last, it talks about a reminder, and this is, I think, one of the most important parts that obviously, the behavior of cheating has more to do with the cheater, their story, and where they're at in their life than it does with you. Yep. And so obviously we talk about taking ownership, and that part of it is very important. But the fact of the matter is that people who are going to cheat, and that just is what it is.
Yeah, you can't ever control people.
Correct. And so understanding, obviously, where they are, what happened in their life, and things of that nature, it'll help you be able to empathize. I'm obviously not saying you should ever be on the side of somebody who's cheating, but it'll allow you to empathize with that a little bit more, to understand it a little bit more, and understand this wasn't me. Like these things, and I probably should have, noticed X, Y, and Z, but he was going to probably do that. She was going to do that regardless. Yeah. That's just what he or she is, and that's what it is.
And if you're emotionally intelligent, you should be thankful that it happened to you and not somebody else, because you're somebody that can handle it.
Right, ideally.
But at the end of the day, everybody's on their own journey, so it's not like you can't ever take any blame for it. It's just that's where they are in their life, and that's what they chose to do.
Yeah,
it is what it is at this point. There's no reason to hold a grudge or resentment. You just got to move forward through it, and that's basically with any type. I know there's a lot of different types breakups in the book, but that's basically with any type. However it ends, like that was a journey. It ended. People are going to be in your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. You got to discern which one that's going to be,
right,
and move forward with it. Season, reason, lifetime.
There we go. So yeah, man, as we kind of wrap things up here, this was, I think, a fun chapter. I think we had a fun 2 episodes about this. What do you feel like are kind of the best takeaways for somebody on these?
Is really the friend part. Like, don't listen to your friends. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. Well, I'm talking about like after the relationship.
Yeah.
Now, when there's a multitude of counsel, you should listen and then pray for the discernment to understand why you're in the middle of the relationship. Yes. But at the end, when they start talking all this mess, like he did this, she did that, they're a bad person, yada, yada, yada. It's a quick dopamine hit. It's going to make you feel good temporarily. But then you're like, well, they're not really a bad person. Then you're going to have all these conflicting thoughts. It's like, no.
Because that's what happens, right? When people start talking bad about somebody who did bad things, you feel the need to defend them for what it's like our human nature.
So it's best to just talk about things logically. If you have friends that are starting to talk emotionally like that, just let them know, hey, I understand you're just trying to help me, but I don't need you to talk bad about the person. I'm going to move on with my stuff, and they're going to move on with their stuff. And at the end of the day, you guys had a life journey that led to each other, and now you have your own life journey to move on from.
Right.
And that's that. But don't hold no resentment, because that's just going to make things harder for you to let go and get your own closure from, to move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's all I got for today. Any other final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my main takeaways from this, mainly number one, the taking ownership portion of it, I think is very, very important. Obviously, and I keep repeating that it's not it's not your fault that they cheated, but at the end of the day, there are things that you could have noticed probably. Yeah. And there's things that obviously there's always something that you can get better. So make sure to get something from it, so you don't end up in a repetitive cycle of being lied to, being manipulated. And also try your best to stray away from that victim mentality, because that's gonna make you sit. Basically that's gonna lead you to continue being a victim. So if you decide 100%. That I was lied to, I was cheated on, I was manipulated, and there's nothing left that I can do about it, then that is what that is always going to be, and people are going to continue to take advantage of you. And unfortunately, at that point, although it's not your fault that people are doing these things to you, you are unfortunately instrumental in these things happening to you because you're not doing anything to understand that you can get better, and there's ways to cut that once you start seeing the signs. So understand that there's a fine line between taking ownership and then also understanding that you need to stray away from that victim mentality. There's always something that you can do, always something that you can grow, learn from, and that way on your next relationship, you have the tough conversations. You make sure that these things are cut before they get to these points of that these guys got here in the
that's
book. Any
relationship too. Is like when you're taking ownership, like when the one, I'm not gonna say her name online, but when I was like trying to figure out like, oh, why am I so bad at like confrontation and stuff? It's like you really got a deep end. Like I called my dad and it was like, hey, like I want to know the situation of like what happened when I was born and why you were never there type deal. I called him and asked for that situation. And, you know, he kind of gave me his whole story and how everything went. And I got my mom's whole story and how everything went. And then a lot of what he was saying is like, yeah, you know, that happened. But, you know, I just not confrontational. I don't like, I'm like, there it is. I was like, that makes so much sense. Like you're terrible at confrontation and I'm bad at it. So it's like, you gotta figure out ways and what you can take from each relationship or in each failed relationship on how to move forward and get better. So that way the next one, whatever it may be, hopefully it's not too many next ones, but it's going to get better, better than the last one. That's all we want to do. And understand that everybody's on their own life journeys and you can't control what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's all I got, man. We've been here for like an hour and 15, man.
We've been hanging out.
Having a good time.
If you made it this far, I appreciate you guys listening. Just know we are live every Saturday. I know we said 7, but usually 7:15.
Unless we got technical difficulties.
We have technical difficulties, live every Saturday between 7 to 7:30 on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe. Definitely appreciate you guys. Whenever I see you guys or whenever you message me or Cleon and say how much you enjoy listening to us out here yapping about relationships and our perspectives. We definitely appreciate that. And if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You want our perspective on your failed relationship or our perspective on your current relationship, we will give that to you.
We are not experts, but
I'm definitely an expert at this point in time. I am going to claim expert status on failed relationships or when they're going to fail because I'm going to look at them very objectively. I will claim the expert status. Cleon will not just yet, but he's trying to claim expert status in a different kind of, you know, like a long-term relationship and stuff. So that's why we even each other out. Appreciate all the feedback from you guys. Subscribe to YouTube. I don't know, Apple Podcasts. If you can subscribe to that, subscribe to all that stuff. Appreciate the likes, comments, shares. If you share any of the reels, TikToks, whatever it may be, tag us at Real Deal Convos for IG and TikTok. Other than that, appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you next week.